Hey, all you writers out there, it is Friday, and that means it's time for you to learn everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote a great book. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co-founder of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and I go live every Friday with our superstar author, Joanie Lindenmeyer, who's here coming to you live from Oregon, and we have a hot topic for you today. Welcome, Joanie.
Hi there, Elizabeth. Good to see you. How are you this beautiful Friday?
Revved, revved. I've been
Woohoo!
up since 7:30. It is noon here, and I've been writing and creating and promoting and just so excited about everything. I'm promoting my Goddess Power retreat, which you're going to attend, and writing is an integral part of the transformational experience that we're offering. So, very
Awesome.
excited.
Awesome. So you're running at light speed and it shows on your face. You're just glowing, glowing, glowing. So it's like,
Thank you.
woohoo!
Thanks. I'm very grateful that I got to be on Fox 2 Detroit, the local TV
Yes.
station for Southeast Michigan today, and I mean this week. And I'll put the link here if anybody wants to see it, because again, writing is an integral part of transformation. And it's also very connected to what Joni and I are going to talk about today. Joni, do you want to reveal the topic?
Absolutely. It's journaling and putting your journal writings into your books
Hmm.
or book or books.
Hmm.
And to me, it's just absolutely crucial. So
Hmm.
before I jump into that, your talk show that you gave, I saw the link, the YouTube, whatever you call that. I saw it. Wonderful, articulate, fun pictures. The anchor, the lady person interviewing you was so right on with you too. So I just want to say compliments to you and to the whole TV station, the whole TV station. Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
Joni. Thank
yeah. Way
you.
cool. Way
Oh,
cool.
I
Yep,
appreciate
yep,
that. Thank
yep.
you.
So back to our hot topic. I love how you say the word hot topic because to me it really is a hot topic. So today's prop, today's prop is not just a visual prop but a oral prop. And lately, sound has been so crucial in my friendships and my relationships and my world. And so, my sound today, and I hope you can hear it.
Oh, I can't. You're jingling some kind of n necklace that looks like it has bells on it.
Right. And it is just the sweetest, softest, tingling sound of jingles. And so it has to do with journaling, Elizabeth,
Oh,
because when I sit and journal, my journal time is total silence. It's
hmm.
normally very, very quiet. But at the same time, in my brain and in my fingertips of writing, it's like a tingling jingle that happens when I journal. And so that's what's really, really cool because it's all raw and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And that is stuff that you can then put in your books because it's raw and vulnerable
Right.
and people will relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you want to say a few comments before I share my journal a little bit?
Well, I think that everybody's journaling style is different, and being in silence is something that works for me as well. I journal in the morning with my coffee. It's a ritual. I don't answer the phone. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just enjoy my coffee and I journal about the day with lots of gratitude and I plan out the day. And then I journal at bedtime. It helps me wind it down and reflect on the day and then pray on the next day because writing is prayerful, prayerful is writing for me. So
Mhm.
anyway, and then I also keep a journal handy wherever I go, and um, I just like to be silent with my thoughts. So thanks for raising that. But if some people like to blast music and journal, go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the cool thing about journaling. It's got to be you. It's your style. It's you at your deepest core when you do that, you
Yeah,
know. So yeah,
definitely.
it was great to see your journal book there. I think I've also heard you say before that you journal with your computer. So it's not a book, but
Right.
is that true?
Well, I type like lightning, so I type on my computer. I take journal entries, do journal entries there. Oftentimes, never go back and read it, but it's there if I ever want to extract it for harvest ideas for future memoirs.
Right, right. Do you remember what you journal, Elizabeth?
No, not really, because sometimes I
Okay.
do glance back and then I'm like, oh, right, that happened, or I felt that way and now I feel so different. So it's really
Yes.
cool. It shows the chronology of your day, your life, your evolution, and it really is a chronicling of what you did today. You can, and there's so many styles. You can do bullet point journaling, where you do a bullet point if I did this, 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 this. A lot of times I do a daily timeline in the morning in my journal of 30-minute or even 15-minute blocks if I have a lot to do. So I can reverse engineer, okay, what time do I have to shower? What time do you dress? What time do I have to leave? How long will it take to drive? So it's really a useful tool in planning and staying on top of your day.
Yes, 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 yes. So, and speaking of that, reminds me of today is the 5th of September. My lucky number, my wonderful number that I've always loved all my life is number 5. I was
Hmm.
born on the 5th.
Hmm.
In my sports world, I was always number 5 on my uniform.
Okay.
And so today is the 5th. And so I went and grabbed both of my journals that I use. And so what I thought I would do is this journal book here, you know the person because, oops, let me see if I can show that right. Is that better?
No, I can't see the author.
Okay, how's
You're
that?
holding up a journal. Oh, Deborah Purdue.
Yes,
Wonderful. Our
yes. So
superstar graphic designer. Wonderful, Joni. She did the
right, right.
all three
So
of our
Deborah
book
Deborah
covers.
wrote this and gave it to me. And
Wow.
and it's illustrated by Tara.
Yeah, Tara's very talented. Very
Very
talented.
talented.
Yeah.
And so they were a big part of working with us and producing None Better, and including my sister Gail Baker, who designed the cover as well. So that was a teamwork kind of thing. So, anyways, I just casually opened this up today.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I casually opened it up, and so it's here's my journal entry, and I'll read
Oh,
it in just a second. Let's see
okay.
here. Let me go this way. Okay.
Yes,
But it's
nice.
April 5th. It was from April 5th. I said number 5 was my thing, right? And so
Yes.
I opened it up. It was like, oh my gosh, April 5th. So I'm just
Wow.
going to read this journal entry that I wrote
Okay.
because it has appeared in some of my talks and some of my other things that I've done. Okay. And so it's Friday, April 25th, 2024, 7:10 to 7:23 a.m. is when I wrote this. So you were just talking about chronically writing that down. Okay. And so I say a 23-minute color in the sky. Wow. Oh my God. I am surrounded by the sky, a huge arc of a rainbow. My house, my body and soul are directly in the middle of the colorful rainbow. And so I even draw a picture. I draw a quick little picture. So my journaling has pictures as well as my heart.
Nice.
It's a surprise. My shirt is soaked from the raindrops, but I'm playing with the in the rain with my God, my forever covenant of peace and joy. The music on the stereo is playing, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. Oh, I'm understanding. Peace and a rainbow go together.
Mm.
So that's just my little bit of a journal. And I know that that comes out in many of my talks that I give because I talk about the rainbow and what that means for the LGBTQ community and what it means for diversity and what it means for acceptance and celebration of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just one little journal that came about, you
I
know.
love
And so
it.
my other journal has other things too, which I do every day. But so what do I want to what I want to share with everybody is in None Better. One of the greatest joys, and you help me with this with your coaching, because I know we would talk about journaling and that kind of thing. And so on page, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Okay.
Okay. On page 252 in None Better, you help me to put in chronologically my journaling notes at the time that Carol was having her struggles. And so
Yeah.
it started with January 5th.
Right.
Carol stopped eating. And then
Oh.
it moves on to January 28th and 29th. But it's a chronological kind of thing of what it was. And so I don't need to read that all now. You all can get the book and read it yourself. But I put in many pages from my journal directly into the book. And that was such a
Wow.
joy to do that. And I want to thank you as a book coach for suggesting that because I've had so many people, Elizabeth, say, "Oh my gosh, I was right there with you when
Mm,
you were experiencing that." And I think that's what the book is all about. You take the reader to right where you are, and they are right there in the scene with you. And so the journaling is a big part of that. Would you
yes.
make some comments on that, please, Guru Elizabeth?
You're so kind. So, when you write in your journal, it is in real time. So, when you go back while you're writing your book, you have your actual thoughts that happened 20 years ago, 10 years ago, last month. Because oftentimes, as we proceed through our days and our lives, uh, the memories become less vivid. But when you journal
Mhm.
about it in the moment, you're recording the sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, all the sensory extravaganza, the feelings of the moment.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
very vivid. So then that's a wonderful, you've pretty much done the work for when you write the book because you've got that information, that scene that you can just harvest verbatim and put it into your book. And that's, I did
Right.
that for my memoir, God's Answer is No, Know, because I used my journals from when I was in college and it was extraordinary. And not only was I able to use my verbatim thoughts as an 18, 19-year-old when I was writing my memoir in my, I think I was in my late 30s, maybe early 40s. I don't remember. But anyway,
Mhm.
it helped me see how much time and energy I have wasted on certain issues, specifically my
Oh,
eating and food
oh.
and fat and obsessive exercising and being consumed by that. And I
Mhm.
decided as I was writing the book, no more, never. I'm done with that. And it took
Mhm.
decades
Mhm.
later, but, and I wasn't as bad as in college, but I still had the issue and now it's gone because the act of actually seeing my thoughts in at age 18, 19, seeing it continue into my future decades, I was like, this is it. I'm not doing this anymore. So when you write a book, it's healing. You can identify things you weren't even aware of and release them. You reached a breaking point and you a revelation. You're like, and that's so powerful, Joni. So powerful.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. That is so cool that you said that because I think you also have some journaling in your mom's book, journal entries in your mom's book or your mom's journal. I'm trying to remember whose journaling it was. But and then I know there's in Joyously Free and Healing Religious Hurts, there's a couple journaling parts that we
Hmm.
included in it as well. And I
Yeah.
know with our contributing writers, they did the same thing. Many of them put a little excerpt in there of their journal writing. I'm thinking of Janelle Monk when she wrote her poem that is in the book Healing Religious Hurts. That was from her journal, you
Hmm.
know? So it's just
Hmm.
very, very powerful. And it's amazing how you can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're actually about to well, several of our authors have journal entries in their books. So for
Mhm.
example, Christy Sidler and Amy, oh my gosh. Oh, let me remember her name. They both had heart transplants and they both chronicled their experiences in the hospital while they were hospitalized to get a heart transplant to save their lives. And so
Wow.
they used those. They also used Facebook posts to show the real time posting because those are almost like journal entries, but they're to share with the public, whereas a journal is your private thoughts.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
yeah, Joni, it's really powerful, especially if you're really going through something.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
We're
And readers want to read those private thoughts. They really want to know what the real scoop is, you
yeah.
know, in something instead of a fake facade or anything. They want the real truth, and that's the real truth when you do a journal, you know. That wasn't my intent when I wrote it in the journal, but it sure ended up being as uh what do I want to say? An extra bonus in the book. Just an
Right,
extra bonus in the book. Yep.
right.
Yep, for
Um,
sure. You were talking about Facebook. How could you put Facebook things in a book, Elizabeth? I don't get it.
oh, okay. First, Amy Makovic, her book is called Contains Recycled Parts.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, and Christy Sidler's book is Change of Heart, and they both use journal entries and Facebook posts. So what they did was their mothers both kept their Facebook pages going to update their friends and family about their condition throughout the experience. So you just copy and paste the post and say on, Thursday, January 4th, this is what happened. And this is the message the update
Ah,
that we sent out. And Christy's husband was also updating it while she was in the hospital. So it's really cool. Really,
wow, I
really
didn't know you
cool.
could do that. All you do is copy and paste it?
Yeah, you can copy your post,
Uh-huh.
the words that you typed on Facebook, you can just copy
Right.
them. Or you can take
Wow.
a screenshot or you can make it visual and take a screenshot of your from your phone. And so it has, yeah, it's really cool how you can do that. Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I keep learning more about technology all the time. My friend
Yeah.
Dana now taught me how to do Snapchat. I call it Snappy Chat, but
Oh,
Snapchat. So
nice.
that's pretty fun too. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun. So journaling, let's talk about it, Joni. You can be
Okay.
journaling through an experience with the intention of writing a book. So say, for
Okay.
example, you decide to backpack across Europe, or you decide to travel to 7 countries or a new country every year, or a new continent every year. Decide from the beginning that I'm going to write a book about this. And so, therefore, as you're going through the experience with each continent that you visit or with each country that you visit, you are going to chronicle it as it happens in a journal. And
Oh.
so you're getting the work done, but you have to decide this in advance because you're going to write certain things that make it coherent and, focus on certain themes like self-discovery in a foreign land or how to travel cheap to exotic lands or whatever your theme is. And so if you have that forethought, you can really create a masterpiece. Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Oh,
So
great
another,
idea.
thanks, Joni. Another thing is that when I journal, nobody gets to read that. And anybody who reads someone else's journal is creating an egregious act. And it's unforgivable, in my opinion, because a journal is
Hmm.
completely private.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I actually hide my journals so nobody can do that anyway. And I put passwords on my computer journal entries so that nobody can, if just to keep it private because it's nobody's business. A journal entry is a place for private reflection, a place for venting your true feelings, a place that you feel completely safe. And
Yes.
that's why it's private. So when you go to write a book, you have to sift through, oh, is this for the public or is this private? So you do have to do that work of discernment to decide, no, this is too private. I'm not sharing this. I am only going to share this part.
Hmm.
So that's a
Hmm.
big part of it as well. So when you
Oh,
keep
that's
a
an
journal,
excellent point. That's an excellent point.
hmm So if you keep a journal, make sure you keep it in a private place. Otherwise, it will hinder your expression, and that will deter the whole or undermine the whole endeavor of journaling.
Hmm.
It's to
Hmm.
create an honest expression of who you are and how you're feeling.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yep. But and that reminds me, like I know in None Better, I put a letter in the book that Carol had written when she was asking to be dispensed from her vows. And so it was a letter to the congregation. And I had that in my stuff. And I knew that she'd be okay with that. She's deceased, so I don't need permission on that. But at the same time, I did pray about that and think about that. Would this be an appropriate letter to go into the book? And it sure was. And I don't know if you'd call that journaling, but it was still an addition into the book that was private and heart. Do you
Yeah.
ever use letters or things like that in your writings?
Oh, absolutely. In my mother's book, The Triumph of Rosemary, um, a memoir by Judge Marilyn E. Atkins, which is now a screenplay that will soon be shot to Hollywood as a feature film. Um,
Woohoo!
she used letters from my father's mother when he left the church to marry a black woman 25 years younger. She used some letters from other people in here, and it really adds a wonderful depth and
Hmm.
credibility
Hmm.
to what you're
Hmm.
writing. So yeah,
hmm
definitely important to use letters because again,
for
they're in
sure.
real time.
Right, right. And Carol was deceased when I used her letter in the book. But if a person is living, I'm assuming, I'm just guessing, you need their permission to put that letter in there.
Yeah, it's always best to check with someone, because, well, worst case scenario is they could sue you if you're revealing something private, confidential. Secondly, it's just a violation of trust in your friendship or working relationship. And third, it's just better to just be open and honest and tell them up front. You don't have to ask them, you can tell them. But you should
Okay.
also make certain that there's nothing in there that is putting you at risk of a lawsuit.
Right, right. Good point. Good point.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep, yep. How else can journal writing be included in a book? Can you do a whole book on your journal writing?
for sure. Absolutely. It can be a complete compilation of journal entries about, love or relationships or your fitness journey, your wellness journey, overcoming or beating a disease, finding peace within yourself. That's a journey. So people love those stories, transformational stories that show you starting off at one place and ending up in a much better spot with yourself and your life. So absolutely, Joni, definitely. But again, it begins with intention. You have to actually have a journal. You can use a notebook. You can, now that we all have phones in our hand 24/7, you can journal on your phone. There are actual apps where you can journal. It depends if you like old school tactile pen to paper or if you want something. You can even verbally talk into your phone and talk to text, and it can compose your journal entry, and you don't even have to write. You just talk, which is really cool because it captures your authentic voice, which is what the best writing is.
hmm hmm Excellent, excellent. I
Hmm.
was just thinking of a friend whose father was in World War I or World War II, and she has many of his journals or entries or letters, and she's wondering what to do with that. So maybe that's something that she could do is put that in a book. That would just be profound.
Yes. So our author Elaine Mackes, Stories from the Front Line, about her father being an 18-year-old Army soldier, going into France and helping to liberate France and Germany from the Nazis in World War II. 18 years old. She found his writings and his recollections, photographs, and she wrote an award-winning book about it.
Wow,
Beautiful
wow.
job because it's in his words and his vision, and he describes the horrors of it. But there's humor, there's love, there's compassion, there's, um, you know, going into a death camp and seeing what happened. And, that was horrible. But then he also describes some really beautiful scenery of mountains and castles in Germany that he saw. So, it's a blend. But she wouldn't have been able to recapture that. Only
hmm
she,
hmm
it was in his own words and his experience through his 18-year-old eyes.
Wow, very cool. Very
Hmm.
cool. Look at
Yeah.
all the ways you can use journaling, huh? Or
Yeah.
somebody else's journal. Oh, it
Yeah.
just it blows me away. It's very
So
impactful, that's for sure.
it is, but I also know people who have taken their journals, decades worth, and looked back on them and burned them because they're like, that's my past. That's not me anymore. And I don't need to preserve this physical manifestation of those thoughts and feelings.
hmm hmm
So,
hmm
not every journal needs to be saved or used because I remember hearing Oprah talk about how she would read her journals from decades past and how she was obsessed about some man or, just really caught up in some nonsensical things that didn't really elevate her mind, body, and spirit. And how she just, first of all, it was an affirmation of change, which is awesome when we can celebrate that and get a
Right,
perspective. But then
right.
it's like, why keep that? Because when you write something down, it is the first step of manifesting in the physical form what you're thinking and feeling. And if it's
hmm
not something that you want to keep or that's going to elevate you,
hmm
maybe it is
hmm
better to destroy it.
hmm I can so relate to that. That's really awesome because I remember as a teenager having my first diary with a key that opened
Yes.
it up. Do you remember
Yes,
those?
of
Oh my
course.
gosh! You know what? I remember it, and it was pink and it was blue and it had sparkles on it. And I remember using that key, and it was like, oh boy, that's my secret place where I could write everything and anything. And then as I moved through my young adult years, I had other journals because I've been probably journaling. I don't know, probably since I was a teenager, right? And so you just mentioned that. I know I've burned or trashed or gotten rid of all those because old skins and new skins kind of thing. It's like, sometimes you just got to get rid of the old and move on to the new. And I didn't need it anymore. I didn't want anybody to read it. And so it was like, "Dude, get rid of that thing. Get rid of that thing." I can relate to what you were talking about there
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
sure. For sure.
Wonderful. That's great. So I
Yeah.
encourage people to journal anyway, Joni, because as a writer, your journal, even if you're not going to use your journal entries for your actual book, the process of journaling is very empowering in terms of
Yeah.
self-discovery,
Yeah.
sorting through your feelings. If you're having fear, anxiety, self-doubt, lack of confidence about your writing, when you journal, you can give yourself a pep talk. You can say, I can do this. And you write it down in big letters. Yes, I can do this. You can
Yep.
even write out a scenario. They call it scripting. Some people call journaling scripting, where you're scripting what you want to occur. I do this all the time. So on some recent road trips, I scripted that I would get there safely, the weather would be clear, the roads would be safe and good, the traffic would be fine. I would get there and get back safely on time, and that happened. And one day it was my whole schedule that I had written out in my journal that day was so on target. It was like, wow, I literally scripted my day with this schedule and it's all working out. It's amazing. That was an airplane trip most
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
recently. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I got on the plane and I was sitting next to this young lady and she's like talking about the harrowing experience of almost missing the flight and how the schedules were off. And yeah, that happens to everybody. But I was thinking, wow, I scripted my day today and all my flights, everything was just perfectly on time. So it makes you feel like you have magic powers.
Yep, yep, for sure. And you do. And we do. You tap into that source, and yes, we do. You
Yeah.
know, and that's
Yeah.
intuition goes in there, and intention goes in there, and just a lot of prayer and peace. And like I read at the very beginning, understanding peace and rainbows, it's sort of all connect.
I love it. I love it. This is a
Yes.
brilliant topic, Joni. Do you have anything else to add about journaling?
Oh, I just recommend everybody out there to, if you're not doing any journaling, to start. And if you are doing journaling, I think Elizabeth's given some tips, and maybe I've given some tips today of how and what you can do to include that in your books. And
Hmm.
so, just go for it, and you follow that feeling, which is that tingle again that I have. And I know you can't quite hear this, but just imagine a beautiful tingle, and you'll know when, where, and why, and how to do it if you want to.
I love that,
So
Joni. I love that.
yeah.
And another thing is giving a gift of a journal is such a wonderful,
Oh.
wonderful thing. So my son gave me this journal. It's purple. It's my favorite. It's got the gold on the gold, if you can see the shiny
Ooh.
gold. And then the pages are like really smooth for writing and they've got lines. And I really
Yes.
like that. So I cherish this, but I've gotten lots of journals as gifts. They make such pretty ones with different flowers or cloth covers or leather bound. And it's just, I've given gifts of journals, and I think people really, really cherish those, especially if you personalize it to what they like. So,
Yes.
and then they'll cherish it. And then when they're journaling, they'll think of you fondly and feel like, wow, they really contributed something positive to my life.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. Oh, can I jump in there with something? It
Sure.
just came to my mind. Elizabeth, when we wrote Healing Religious Hurts, and we have all of our reflective questions in there for people to journal with, that is just a great way to start, by opening up a book and journaling with the reflective questions. And one of the
Oh,
best things is at my book events, I have the Joanie Lindenmeyer pen, with all three books and my picture on the pen. And
Hmm.
everybody gets a pen with a book because I recommend that. Write your thoughts, write your opinions, write what's going on as you're reading,
Mm,
And so I think that is part of journaling. It's just,
mm.
it doesn't have to be long pages. It can just be little things or a picture. So.
Yes, I love that. That's
Yeah, I love our
beautiful.
Healing Religious Hurts books with all those reflective questions. Oh, very,
Yes.
very powerful. Very, very
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. And that's a really good starting point, like you said, for someone to start getting in the
Hmm.
flow. Because some people are like, where do I start? What should I write? Just
Hmm.
start
Hmm.
writing a stream of consciousness. What did you have for breakfast? Or what do what'd you do last night? Or how are you feeling right now? Or how did you sleep? Just be real simple about it. And it's such a wonderful reflection and mirror into yourself. It's just all about
Hmm.
self-discovery and self affirmation.
Yep. Yep. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Fantastic.
Joanie. Awesome. Well, thank you for suggesting this super hot topic today. And all you writers out there, please pull out your journal, talk into your phone, do it on your laptop. However, start recording your feelings, your experiences, and they can all enrich you as a book writer. So, meanwhile, I would love to help you as a book coach. So, please go to twosisterswriting.com where you can learn about my book coaching services as well as look at all of our books, including the two books I did with Joanie, Healing Religious Hurts and Joyously Free, and then her best-selling memoir, None Better, An Amazing Love Story, and many other books. So, including my Goddess Power books, which are the foundation for the retreat in Oregon, which I'll put the link here if you're interested, and also the TV show interview, which was such a blessing. So, we wish you happy reading and happy writing, and we'll see you next week.
You got it. Bye, Elizabeth. Bye, everybody. Big hugs to everybody.